at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Brisk day here. Really nice weather outside. Hope you're having a nice day. Thank you for joining us. Andy Escobar with us at the bottom of the hour. We will talk do first class, second class, no class in the second hour today, but we start with the Saints. And last night's 26-13 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The Saints in no way were as close in this game, at least it felt, as the final score would indicate. Kansas City had twice as many points, twice as many first downs, more than twice as many yards, and if not for their red zone inefficiencies, would have beaten New Orleans much more convincingly than this. The Saints' problem started early. Derek Carr with a heave on a play on the first drive that he was trying to throw out of bounds that was intercepted, that led to a Kansas City touchdown on their opening drive. Carr would miss Mason Tipton on a deep ball on the next drive that could have set the Saints up in Kansas City territory. The Chiefs would make some improbable plays. They were backed up on a 2nd and 34 that they somehow managed to turn into a field goal drive. Then the Saints gifted them 3 more points when Jamal Williams decided to nearly genuflect at the 1-yard line. And a drive that took 20 seconds off the clock gave Kansas City time to drive for a field goal right before the half. The Saints actually had an opportunity in the second half maybe to get back in this ball game after Harrison Butker with a rare miss gave the Saints the ball in their first drive. A 3rd down and 7 at the Kansas City 45-yard line. Carr hit Tipton for 9 yards down to the Kansas City 36. And at this point, the game's only 16-7, despite how badly the Saints have been outplayed. But Chris Olave, who just soon as stayed home last night, for some reason is bouncing around. This play probably drove me nuts more than any of the other crazy stuff that happened last night. Olave looks like he is completely not paying attention. He's literally jumping up and down, just kind of bouncing up and down as the ball is snapped, which, of course, is going to get flagged. And it would have been a key first down. It would have got the Saints down to the 36-yard line. I don't know if they would have scored on the drive, and they almost certainly wouldn't have won the game. But that's just a kind of dumb play. I mean, that's not, a degree of difficulty, or, you're playing the Chiefs and the crowd is loud and, there's a lot of injuries on the offense. So that doesn't mean anything on a play like that. That's just you not paying attention because you're not getting targeted in the game, and you checked out mentally. So you're just going to bounce up and down, and when you convert a key 3rd down, it's going to get flagged. The next play, Carr gets sacked on a jailbreak, and that's that. Then you had the obligatory Paulson Adebo pass interference. Blake Grupe ends up missing an extra point after a really nice play to Foster Moreau. Would have cut the lead to 2, but Grupe, who only seems to miss when it matters. I'll get back to that here in a little bit. And then, of course, Kansas City gets the ball back. Tyrann Mathieu falls down. They get a 50-yard gain, and, from there. Derek Carr, his last play of the night, maybe his last play for a little while, threw a beautiful ball to Mason Tipton. It was a difficult catch, but it was probably his, the play to Shaheed was a great throw, too. He made a few nice throws last night. That one would have been a difficult over-the-shoulder catch for Tipton, but by that time the issue had been decided. So the Saints dropped the game, and the injuries to the offensive line certainly made a huge difference. Didn't really get Jimmy. I know that the Saints want to establish a running game. They did that in the first 2 games. I didn't understand why they were continually trying to run the ball between the guards, where they're playing all backup players, and Chris Jones spent a decent amount of his time on the defensive line. But overall, just a very, very frustrating night for the Saints.
I don't think I'm frustrated as it myself. And, I mean, how do you expect anything different? Because the Chiefs were playing everybody close.
Yeah.
I mean.
And didn't the Chiefs play this game a lot closer than they should have? Shouldn't they have won this game by way more than 13?
The big break. I mean, come on. The fluke play. The slant interception to the lineman.
Yeah.
That's returned 35.
Yeah.
That's a 14-point swing. And, I mean, it's okay. That's a fluke. I mean, that is. He's going to have one interception. He's going to finish his career with one interception.
Right, but the Chiefs had to try 5 field goals last night. I mean, in the red zone, they were not as good.
But that's not anything different than what they've done. And the Saints are pretty good in red zone defense. So, no more field goals. Maybe not that many. But it's about 460 to 220.
Yeah, they dominated the game. They should.
That's not that frustrating. It's not frustrating.
The yardstick was that they should have won this game by more.
This big picture, and as soon as you get the fluke play and you capitalize, on a good Morrow design, all right. As soon as you do that and you get their attention, what do?
Went right down the field.
And what did they finish or they kicked a field goal?
They went to one of their creative designs and they got the ball to Worthy and they scored a touchdown.
But you got their attention and they put it away.
Yeah.
I mean, you were all of a sudden, man, how are they in this game? Well, you got to play. We see that. But then as soon as you got their attention, it was over. This is why, when we're sitting there watching the Philadelphia game, I'm like, this sucks. We're sitting here after 2-0 after they destroyed people. Okay, Carolina threw that out. But Dallas is good. Dallas overcame 3 turnovers and a blocked field goal and beat a decent team on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you went there and destroyed them. But as soon as, they're paper thin, and when McCoy's going out, how are we supposed to – and you add another lineman that's out. Do we need to see Carr anymore with and without pressure? This dude throws one of the nicest balls when he's protected. But how are they going to protect him? How do we against the Chiefs? Get Chris Jones? The biggest shock last night was how did Carr get time with the 15% that he did? Did the defensive front just get tired for the Chiefs? How did he ever get time in this matchup? You don't respect their running game.
No, you're
just coming up. You're going to get Carr.
No,
and he's bailing, bro. He's bailing. He throws the ball up, lollipops it, and just hopes it drops in there. The one way he's got to throw the ball away. Now I'm not. You said it led to a field or whatever. That's like a punt, but it's an early down. It was second down, right?
It was second down, and they were in Kansas City.
Can you just throw the ball away?
They're in Kansas City territory at that point. They actually had put together a semblance of a pretty nice little drive to open the game.
Camaro reversed his field. That's not sustainable. You weren't really blocking him. Like you said, they were not going to get anything running the ball. But they had something where he could make a play. And he got about 15% of snaps. He got some time, and guess what? He delivered it. But the ones where he mistipped, he's bailing out so quick. I mean, he's just trying to drop it in a bucket. Man, it's tough. It's tough. But, dude, you've started so many games. Throw the ball 15, 20 yards out of bounds.
Yeah.
I mean, throw the ball out of bounds.
And that's what his intention was, but he doesn't get enough on the throw. Man,
that sucks. I mean, you can't throw the ball. You've had how many? Man, if you name your rookie. If Drake May starts next week and he does that, or who you name your rookie,
it's an
minus
awful
Jaden
play.
Daniels.
It's an awful play.
Jaden Daniels will make that pass.
No, you wouldn't.
And he's got 5 starts.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. It's an awful play. It's an awful play, and any chance that they had to gain some momentum, I don't know if they scored in a drive or not. Maybe. I mean, but they had actually moved the ball into Kansas City territory. They took the ball with the intention.
Where was the ball line of scrimmage?
36. I think it was 36.
They're 36. When you threw that?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, that's bad.
They were moving.
No, they had a couple.
39. Excuse me, the 39.
No, still,
and it was first down.
Oh, jeez.
So first and 10 at Kansas City 39.
What do we say? I mean, you're no matter what your protection is, you can't do that with all your starts. You can't do it. So, but 460 to 220. Come on, man. I mean, there's no frustrating loss. You're supposed to lose. You're supposed to lose. You're paper thin. You lost 2 key guys on the offensive line. You lose. You have injuries. What's the chances of you going to say? I mean, you could, and we're hoping. And if those guys don't get, if you stay healthy in the offensive line, where would they be right now? It'd be a totally different team.
If you just win the Atlanta,
totally different team.
Just win the Atlanta game, and this
the Atlanta game is the one I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah,
because without McCall, you got outgained by more than 2-1. You know how often that happens in the NFL? Week to week, out to 16 games, if there's a full schedule.
2-1,
maybe once.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, so you're way beyond frustration, bad luck, sucks.
Okay,
woulda, coulda, shoulda. But how did they go in Atlanta and should have beat them?
Because they're not. This is my frustration, and it's probably not. It's beyond this game. Okay, they're not bad enough to completely wipe the slate and start over, and they're not good enough to contend for anything. They're just stuck in this Dennis Allen no man's land that just gives you what I said yesterday. Good money after bad. Okay, it's just enough to tease you, just enough to keep you interested. At this point, I almost wish they had lost the damn Dallas game, because then at least we'd know. Okay, you could at 1-4, you could say, you know what, you beat a terrible Carolina team with an overmatched quarterback, and that's all you've done. It's time to start moving in the other direction. But no. They tease you. They give you just enough. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't expect this against Dallas. Hang on. And then you almost beat Philadelphia, and you almost beat Atlanta. And Kansas City struggled just enough with a 4-0 record for us. Both of us thought yesterday that the Saints had a decent chance to go in there and pull a surprise last night.
I'm frustrated myself.
Yeah, right. And after the game, you feel like a dope, because it's like, did we really think they were going to go in there and beat the champs?
Because I should have stuck with my gun, and I didn't know where the Atlanta game came from.
Yeah,
you gave them 2 touchdowns. You gave them the game.
Yeah,
on the road.
Right. And so that's my frustration level. It's not necessarily with this game. Did I think at the beginning of the season they were going to win this game? No. Do I think that they're better than the Chiefs? Not hardly ever. I thought they might catch them in a spot yesterday, and yeah, I feel like a dope.
Here's my point of the criticism, though. Dennis Allen's always been he had a bad night as a defense coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, when you play zone, yeah, no, but Mahomes really threaded the needle getting the ball to Kelsey, huh? Kelsey's out of shape. Look at him. He looks like every time they show him on the sidelines, looks like he's gasping for air.
He does.
I mean, he just, and Aikman says he bit on him. You know, his brother says before, no, football means more to him. Hey, whatever, dude. You ever see him gasping for air like this? Every time they show him, he looks like he's dead.
It does.
And he's not even running hard routes, and he's open all night long. Easy pitch and catch throws, dude.
But they were all checkdowns. The ones that were more frustrating to me is Kareem Hunt was unemployed 2 weeks ago. He comes in, he carves you up. Juju Smith-Schuster's been cut multiple times. This is his second or third stint. He hasn't had a game like this in 3 years. He comes in, he carves you up. Now part of that's Mahomes.
Who didn't even want him? Who's his last team?
Pittsburgh. Who did he pick for between that?
New England.
New England, yeah.
He was lighting it up there?
No.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what Mahomes and Reed can make a lot of people look good. A lot of people look good.
Okay, this just in. Supporting cast means something. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough to go and be productive in New England's supporting cast in their offense in Kansas City with Mahomes.
Hall of Fame
not just Mahomes,
make
but their offensive line, too. Yeah. I mean, because they are down the list with the wide receivers. And so when you're down the list, Carl, you can call them check downs all you want. He's going to Kelsey a lot. I mean, and he's wide open, dude. So Juju's going to beat you over the top?
He did. I mean, the big play
he had to leak out where –
the big play was when Matthew fell down. I mean, Matthew's got coverage. He fell. He slipped. It happens, okay? He's past his prime, but he slipped on that play. If he doesn't slip on the play, Schuster gets the first down. He doesn't go for 50. But they're going to win the game anyway. I actually sat here on the radio yesterday and said, I think the Saints – I got a weird feeling the Saints are going to win this game. Felt real dumb.
But you didn't base it on anything. You just had a weird feeling.
Yeah, a spot in the schedule where the Saints had lost 2 that they could have won, and the Chiefs have won 4.
Wait, 2 they could have won.
They could have won the Philadelphia game.
They did not deserve to win it. That
they deserved to win the Atlanta game. They didn't win that one either.
No, but Charlie, they got out. How many teams get outgamed more than 2-1? That coach went out of his way to keep the Saints in the game. Let's be fair.
Yeah, I know.
Let's be fair. And yes, it came down to we if we don't blow a coverage, we could have stole it, but it would have been a flat out steal. That was not a game where it took a miracle in ignorance by the Philadelphia coach to keep the Saints in the game, to put it at that point. I mean, you got the tush push. This guy's running sweeps on 4th and 1. Excuse me? I mean, and if you get it, where are you going? You got to kick a field goal anyway. Why don't you just kick it? Where you going to get 2 yards? I mean, just no. No, that's it. Explain the Falcons game to me. That's the one that does it. Even the Falcons, now the yardstick was pretty even. But damn it, they flat out gave them 2 touchdowns. Did they not?
Yeah.
The Shaheed thing and
I've watched the Falcons win 3 games, and I don't know how they won any of them. I don't know how they beat Philadelphia.
I know the same way that the Saints were in the game.
I don't know how bench. I don't know how they beat Tampa Bay the other night. I still think Tampa Bay is a better team. If they were lining up in the parking lot here at Mike Anderson's, I'd still bet on the
How did they not? How they beat him? How many yards did Cousins throw for?
Oh, almost 500.
Yeah, 5. Well, what do you mean you don't know how? Come on, you're smarter than that.
I thought the Bucs were the better team. I really
did.
They
were, but the guy threw for 500.
He did.
They didn't. The Cousins didn't throw for 500 at Philadelphia. That coach gave him that game
in the last 2 minutes. They go.
No. The last drive.
The last drive. They go right when you're trying to protect the lead. I'm just going to choose to be frustrated about the Saints. Okay.
No, you're frustrated because they're in the middle, and in the end, what did they finish last year?
9-8.
And what are they going to finish this year?
I would greatly prefer them to finish 4-13 than to finish 8-9.
Well, could you make up your mind? Because
I would like to make up my mind, but then I watched the Dallas game and I got to watch the Atlanta game 2 weeks later, and they won't.
But once they were papered, once they lost McCoy for how many games? For 8 games.
2 months. Yeah, 2 months.
I mean,
2 months.
They can't protect this guy, and this guy throws a freaking awesome ball, man. He throws a beautiful ball, but not when he's not protected. And how are they going to protect him with a unit that was so weak going in? Okay, here's what we're going with. Boom, we make a hit at left tackle. That's not a given, but they got one. Oh, Ruiz is playing better. Okay, all right, McCoy gets hurt?
Yeah.
Oh,
even Trevor Penning's not playing as bad as I thought he would.
No. But I mean, you're gonna go 10 games. I mean, the Philadelphia game, and then 8 or 9 more without McCoy. No, they can't do that. They can do. We're live here at Mike Anderson's. Come on by. Fadinky and Surratt are here, so boy, the weather's good, huh? It's the greatest month of the year, baby. October, and that little chill in the air. How about today, Charlie? At least you get that, huh?
It's beautiful out here. Absolutely fantastic.
It is Ole Miss LSU weather, huh? You got some friends coming in town. Hey, hit Mike Anderson's on the Friday. We're open through Monday through Thursday, we close from 2 to 5 between the lunch shift and the dinner shift. Not on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You come over here anytime and get you some great, great South Louisiana cuisine over here at Mike Anderson's. Tuesday night, every night here in the bar starting at 5 o'clock, it is not only oysters in a half shell are half price, but the draft beer is half price as well over at Mike Anderson's. Right here on Lee, just off of Nicholson, and I mean a great meeting place before, during, and after LSU Ole Miss this weekend.
Live at Mike Anderson's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Aaron Rodgers fired Robert Salah a couple hours ago. The Jets 2-3. Jets have scored exactly as many points through 5 games this year as they did through 5 games last year. Different quarterback.
I told you that a couple weeks ago that there were same yards per game, same points. Yeah,
93 points.
Now, he's better. I get it. There's no doubt, but I mean, them two clowns, but it not that much better. And he might get better as he gets more in tune. Charlie's missed some time.
Yeah.
And he's an old guy coming off of an injury. I mean, Cousins trending a little bit better.
Cousins is trending better, and he's 4 years younger than Rodgers, and it's at the 4-year window where there ain't a lot of difference between 25 and 29. There's a hell of a lot of difference between 36 and 40 for quarterbacks, and he just looked. I'm sorry, very average. He's not terrible or anything. He looked very average in that game on Sunday. He's looked very average in the games that I've paid attention to.
Give Minnesota's defense a little credit too.
Minnesota's defense is very good.
But that'd be one thing if you just couldn't move the ball. But the 3 interceptions, and
the pick six was a ball that he just doesn't get over the linebacker. That's not a mistake that you expect Aaron Rodgers to make. So the plays that. Forget about the superhuman plays that he made in his prime. I don't expect that, but I don't expect him to make gigantic mistakes like that either.
He's an average quarterback to get back into playing shape, get the timing to be good. He's not going to be elite.
No,
okay.
If you're expecting a Tom Brady like into his 40s, I don't see that. If he comes back, I'll say that I was wrong. He didn't particularly have a warm, fuzzy relationship with Salah. Now, this guy doesn't have a warm, fuzzy relationship with many, but when he does, he seems to embrace them.
He didn't know Salah was coach when he went over there?
Well,
you don't think he met with him before he decided? He was the one being entertained. It would have been on a Jets dime.
This is a strange cat, and he likes Nathaniel Hackett. And does he not get his guys?
Is he still there?
He is.
He is.
Does he not get his guys? Did he not go out and get his receiver? Did he not go out and get Lazar? Did he not go out and get the guy from Kentucky? I'm forgetting. Randall Cobb. He goes out and he gets his guys. This is why, of local interest, I am happy that the Jets fired Robert Salah because it tells me who's in charge there, which we knew already. Aaron Rodgers says, go get Devontae Adams. They will go get Devontae Adams. And I'm praying that they go get Devontae Adams so the Saints don't squander valuable draft choices that they may squander anyway and wreck their cap for the next couple of years with Devontae Adams, who is not going to rescue this team.
Their cap is wrecked.
Well, it's at least this past summer they didn't wreck it anymore. So I'm hoping that this means that they will go and acquire Devontae Adams and take that off the plate.
You can add Devontae Adams, Lynn Swann, Drew Pearson,
Jerry Rice and
Wes Chandler. Okay,
yeah.
If you can't protect him, he ain't sitting there delivering the ball.
Here's what I do find interesting, though. This is 6 coaches now for the Jets.
Hurry up, we got to go. Take a break before we get Andy on.
6 coaches now for them that have finished under 500.
Go ahead.
Al Groh's the last guy to have a winning record with his team 24 years ago. He was
coached 1 year.
Yeah, and he was so inspired by his winning record, he decided to quit and go to Virginia.
Virginia's a high resource program.
It is. Big time job.
There you go. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance, again, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC heating and heating companies since 1980. Service today, every day means same-day service. You'll never sleep hot. Call today, get service today. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products. Generators, authorized dealer in Generac and Cummings. So, Total Maintenance, right now at Total Maintenance, we're offering the Jimmy Ott special, half off diagnostics, including after hours, holidays, and weekends. And a one-time heater or AC visit, just $79 instead of the normal $179. If you mention you heard it right here on ESPN Radio. My name's Jimmy Ott. We also have membership programs that cover all of the services that we offer with discounts and extended warranties. The Total Maintenance, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, but both with separate staffs, separate offices, not to compromise each other. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Iskoe.
Here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch. Show available on demand. LouisianaSports.net, 1045ESPN.com. New podcast coming up. Be dropping tonight on YouTube. Search it for the Handicast and please subscribe.
All right, let's go out to Las Vegas. Andy Iskoe with us. Andy, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty well today. How about yourselves?
Boy, man, the survivor, the carnage continues, huh? I mean, with Seattle and San Francisco dropping those late games on Sunday?
You know, it's funny because in my newsletter this week I used the word "the carnage continues," but my reference was to what happened in college football over this past weekend with, what was it, I think
Yes.
7 FBS undefeated teams went down, including 3 in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Vandy Bama game gets everybody's attention, but damn, that Tennessee-Arkansas thing was a big deal. I mean, all of a sudden,
And how about Missouri getting waxed?
I was getting to that one. I mean, here's the thing, Andy. Missouri is a questionable defense. Okay, to begin with, not only did they lose their defense coordinator, which I think is, it's they had 5 defensive players drafted. Charlie, when's the last time Missouri had 5 defensive players drafted? So
probably not in our lifetime. And they didn't just lose their coordinator; they lost 3 members. They lost basically their entire defensive staff. Yeah, Peoples is here. I mean, you see the job he's doing with LSU's ends.
But the thing is, look at their schedule. Their schedule is not tough. They were dealt a favorable hand. Rutgers in the Big Ten, favorable hand. Purdue sucks, okay? But Purdue got hammered with the schedule. They have no shot. I mean, Purdue plays Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. Rutgers plays none of them. I mean, that's equity. You look at Texas, Oklahoma, the schedules they were dealt. Now, Arkansas and A&M are trying to rally to provide some sort of resistance to Texas, but still, I mean, give me a break. So, and so are these teams that were preseason ranked, like Missouri, was that because a product of their schedule? Because, well, they could see them easily going 9-3 or 10-2. But are they just that good? And they prove, no. They're a fraud, and thank God the rankings don't mean anything, especially the preseason rankings.
Yeah, in fact, looking at it, I believe that there are still a dozen unbeaten teams. Big Ten has Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. The AAC has Army and Navy, and wouldn't it be amazing if both of those teams end up being unbeaten and are playing for perhaps that power group of the group of 5 spot when they play the final game of the regular season at the end in early December. You got Miami and Pitt in the ACC, and the BYU and Iowa State in the Big 12, and then Liberty and Texas in the SEC. So a lot of these teams, a number of these teams control their own destiny. Liberty and Texas, for example. You could have Miami and Pitt meeting in the ACC title game, and same thing with BYU and Iowa State in the Big 12, because those teams do not play any of the other currently unbeaten teams as you have in the Big 10, and as I mentioned with Army and Navy. So it's going to be very interesting. I would think that right now you might take a look at Boise State. If they can go through the rest of their schedule unbeaten, they will have the one loss, but that one loss would be a 3-point loss at Oregon earlier in the season. And so, Boise State's rooting for Oregon to go through the Big Ten schedule unblemished.
2 weeks from Saturday, Charlie, Navy and Notre Dame do play. They play in New York at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, Navy's one of those teams I think is not getting enough credit. Who else do we think is not getting enough credit? We talk about the teams that are overseeded.
You don't think they get enough credit?
Navy?
Yeah.
They're not ranked.
They're not ranked?
They're not ranked.
Oh, they deserve
How about
to be
Army?
ranked.
The Army, I would give you SMU, who's won since they changed quarterbacks, is I think a lot better than
they lost at home to BYU in that Friday night game earlier.
And that loss doesn't look nearly as bad as it did at the
Tulane's
time.
another team that's been playing extremely well.
Tulane.
Yeah. I'll say this. This is, and I'll maintain, this is a better. I know it's a more complete team than the undefeated team. But you go back to that Sean King and that undefeated team. And look, they did a great job. Okay, there's no doubt. Okay, but Their toughest game was like a 6-5 Southern Miss team or a 7-4 Southern Miss team. That was their toughest game. They didn't play in Norman, Oklahoma. They didn't play Kansas State, who's going to win, 8 or 9 games. No, that was in those teams in major conferences. And now they're going to go. They go to Annapolis. This Tulane team's got, they can hit, tackle, run, power. Their offensive line is good. That ULO game, they just pushed them. I mean, they were getting like 7 yards a carry in that carry. I think this is a better team overall than that Tommy Bowden team. God bless his soul. Truck would argue to hell with me. But, I mean, I think this is a better team. And certainly a more complete team.
And Kansas State might be another team that should be on this list of underrated teams. Their only loss was to BYU. Now, and that was on the road. So, again, that doesn't look nearly as bad as it did at the time.
Well, they got to go win at Colorado Saturday. So, the Big 12 is fun. Who's the Big 12 favorites? The Big 12 favorites, Utah and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Well, Utah's got a loss.
Oklahoma State's done.
They're 0-3.
Yeah, they're done.
And Oklahoma State had an awful lot of starters returning from last year. That's what makes their performance this year so surprising.
It caught my attention. I said, well, this is a guy, at least, he's getting his team focused. When Gundy came public and said, I told my team, we're done. We're done talking about NIL payments. We're now into football. That window is closed. The negotiations are down. Now we're done. But for them to be 0-3, and let's face it, they should have lost against Arkansas when they were outgained at home by more than 250 yards. I mean, he's been there a long time, and, man, he lost his first year. He's had 19 straight winning seasons in Stillwater. This is not going to be one of them. I don't see I think they had the most experienced team in the country. Andy, I mean, Ollie Gordon.
It's top 3 based upon the numbers, depending on how they define starters from last year. But that's still an awful lot of experience to be underachieving the way that they have this year. Yeah, I had them along with Utah as favored to win the Big 12. Utah still has a shot, but they need things to break right. And let's see how they play this week. But Oklahoma State is probably amongst the top 3 or 5 underachieving teams, disappointing teams this season.
Well, Randy, one thing if you do, you put a time capsule, okay, you put a 15-year tube, okay, and we put it in, bury it and pull it out 15 years later, Cam Rising will still be questionable, okay, a game-time decision.
Right. Day to day.
So, game-time decision. but he does.
Senior.
But he does mean a lot to that team. But, the game's being played. But that's what – so you got, 4 or 5 teams that are undefeated in the Big 12 in the main. So it is – and now that at
Colorado,
least –
I think, is 3-0 already in the conference.
They're 2-0. There's one 3-0. Who is it, Charlie? Texas Tech. Texas Tech is 3-0. The other 4 are 2-0. Yeah. So in league play. Who you like anybody in college football this week, Andy?
I kind of would expect Vanderbilt to have a letdown when they go to Kentucky. And Kentucky is another one of those under-the-radar teams. They gave Georgia that great game. They upset Ole Miss on the road. Kentucky, Texas is unbeaten, but there are still a number of one-loss teams, and no one's talking about Kentucky. And, Stoops continues to do a fine job down there, and I wouldn't be surprised. They've got some decent offense this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they handle Vanderbilt and cover that number. And I'll tell you what, you guys got a tough game against Ole Miss this week, and Mississippi has played some pretty decent defense this year.
That's the difference between these two teams. These two teams are very good offensively. They've got experienced quarterback, good quarterback. It's just they're offensive heavy, but Ole Miss's defense is showed me a lot more. I mean, we don't want to just connect the dots. That'll get you in trouble in college football.
By the way, the other thing is you have to like the way Ole Miss responded to that loss to Kentucky by basically shutting down South Carolina last week.
Oh, I respect it because I paid for it, because I love South Carolina and the points coming off a bye at home against Ole Miss. So, you know what? Some of it was that immaturity. With this team, all of a sudden, this program that's playing with expectations. I mean, 3 times in the first half, they get stops against Kentucky, and they have late flags to extend drives. That's 3 extra possessions. That's a big deal. Then you allow Kentucky to keep pounding it, with the running game, and they're going to have 46 rushing attempts. Now, if you get off the field like you're supposed to and respect your opponent, no, it would have been a different game. And then, I mean, it's been a long time since a Mark Stoops hit a play like that with the game on the line, deep in their own territory.
You know, all of these one-loss teams, it's explain your loss, okay? Georgia can explain their loss. We had to go to Tuscaloosa. Clemson can explain their loss. We had to play Georgia. It's harder for Notre Dame to explain their loss. It's harder for Ole Miss to explain their loss. Yeah, there's a lot of these teams. It's pretty hard for LSU to explain their loss right now to USC.
It's unforgiving. It's unforgiving but Ole Miss, with the win Saturday night, can erase it. If you go on the road against teams in this league, at least capable teams, has South Carolina showed that they're capable? Maybe they didn't perform like it Saturday, but they got killed. Yeah. I mean, and that score was not as bad as that whooping was on that field.
Their game at Kentucky and their game Saturday could not have been more different.
Keep in mind, Kentucky will have three. I won't really put a win at Florida all that significant, although Florida's improved. But they will have a chance to prove their mettle. They're at Tennessee and Texas in the month of November, and we'll see if Kentucky can sort of raise their level of respectability depending upon how they perform in those two road games.
See, I think Kentucky is just the same old Kentucky. They're close, and if you play undisciplined and you're sloppy like Ole Miss was in that game, and they were, I mean, their defense can keep them hanging around. But if you respect them and you play, but this will be interesting. I don't know what makes you say, Andy, that Vandy, huh? What makes you say that there was a little emotion, huh? I mean, this, for a team that has never won anything. Charlie, did you see them go through the main streets of Broadway on their way from the stadium to the Cumberland River with all the cop cars? Did they not handle it like they've done this on a weekly basis?
It's like 2 miles that they haul at goalposts.
3.5.
I'm sorry, 3.5 miles. Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
3.5 miles.
3.5, and they bloop, 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 bloop. They just go rolling it. Nobody's car got hurt, scratched. I mean,
they threw it in the river, then they sent search and rescue out to pick it up.
It's funny because I felt that Vanderbilt was a good play in the first half last week, catching Alabama off of that huge game against Georgia that they led comfortably and actually had a trail for a few seconds late in the fourth quarter. But I did not expect Vanderbilt to win the game, and I thought that Alabama might put themselves together at halftime in that game and come back and do, for example, what they did. What was it against that? Was a South Florida team, I think, earlier in the year when they were in a competitive game in the third quarter and didn't cover, but they still ended up winning by, 16, 20 points, something like that.
Andy, good job by you on Sunday because you kept it respectable for us. We got bruised up a little bit on Sunday, but you had two winners with Green Bay minus the 3. They stopped the 2-point conversion to preserve the win instead of a push, and then Saints in Kansas City under 43 last night. So, well done, sir. Let's keep it up.
Well, it made up for the 0-2 that dragged you down the week before, so maybe a little bit back on track this week.
There you go. Anything else before we let you go? Baseball or anything else? How about this? All 4 series. 1-1.
1-1. Best of 3 now.
I mean, so now the favorite has got to win a game on the road to survive.
Does this open the floodgates for Detroit?
I was surprised to see the line today. The game between the Mets and the Phillies opened to pick 'em, and now Philadelphia is about a 110 to 112 favorite. It's a good pitching matchup, although Aaron Nola is towards the end of his career, and Sean Manaea sort of reinvented himself. So if that line goes up to Philly 15 to 20, quite likely I'll be on the Mets this afternoon.
I don't think Nola's toward the end of his career.
Nola's 31, I think.
Yeah, he's only 31. Andy.
I guess these days that's not quite the prime, but not far past it.
He's been pitching. He got brought up pretty quickly, high draft pick at LSU, and he's been pretty. The thing about Nola is he's more established, but he and Manaea over the last 10 or 15 games been very, very close. Manaea is one of the reasons this Mets turnaround. I mean, he's pitching way better than he's pitched previous years. I mean, way better.
Yeah, that's why that line, which opened 7.5, is down to 7 with the under getting the vig now.
Yeah, and Detroit, Charlie, Scuba's got to win his game. He's got to win his game or they have no chance. So, it gives them a chance now.
The reason I asked, they go with 17 innings without scoring a run, and then they get 3 off of a dominant closer. Sometimes that opens the floodgates for your offense.
The best.
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes you break through, and it opens the floodgates. Sometimes.
All right, Andy. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. Thank you, buddy. Good job. We'll talk to you on Sunday.
Look forward to it, guys. Enjoy the week.
Don't forget our friends at Total Main. Already talked about Total Main. K&M Automotive. K&M Automotive on Segan Lane. Jason Payne, man, he does a great job over at Total Maintenance. It's the only place I take my vehicle. So on Segan Lane between Perkins and I-10, you name it, anything that you want done on your car. I mean, just all your general maintenance. The engine light comes on. Bring it on in. We'll look at it, put the diagnostic on it, tell you what you're looking at. Belts and hoses, general services, undercar services, electronic, AC repair, transmission, tires, brakes, simple oil changes. Go see my buddy K&M, Jason Payne at K&M Automotive on Segan and Perkins. Segan and Perkins between Perkins and I-10, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, you just never know who's going to walk in here at Mike Anderson's Seafood. Just got to say hello to Joey Painich. Joey Painich is one of the great answers. Without Joey Painich, maybe there's no Warren Morris, Jimmy. Joey Painich bailed LSU out in the 96 regional against UNLV. A game that could have dropped the Tigers into the loser's bracket. He came in and pitched outstanding baseball. A game that LSU had to beat UNLV 7-6.
Wow.
And it was the second game of the regional. Would have dropped them into the loser's bracket. Would have been awfully hard to come out of that thing. And, of course, we know how the season ended. So, good to see Joey coming by, having a little lunch here with us at Mike Anderson.
Yes, indeed.
That was a heck of a regional. That was when they scored 29 in the finals against Georgia Tech. But that Friday game was hairy.
like 13 doubles in the inning or something?
Yeah, they batted around 3 times. Oh, I never forget the coach for
6-team regionals, boy.
And the coach for Georgia Tech coming out, making his 5th pitching change of the inning, just kicking the dirt on the mound. He was I felt for him. I mean, but it was too much fun not to enjoy it. But
pre-regulated bats, 16 regional,
those were a lot of fun. We got first class, second class, no class coming up here at the top of the hour. We are at Mike Anderson Seafood. Wesley at Nicholson. Come on by and join us for lunch. And, of course, you can always get the show on demand at the new LouisianaSports.net. Lots of great new content up at LouisianaSports.net. Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And we welcome you back here at Mike Anderson's. Wesley at Nicholson, first class, second class, no class. All right, first class goes to the undefeated teams. If you're a week deep into October and you're still undefeated, you're doing something really right. So for the 2 teams in the NFL, the Chiefs, who I think the Saints fans saw last night, and the Vikings, one of the more unlikely 5-0 teams. And I'm going to get to the college teams in a second. But, Jimmy, when the Vikings started this season, looked like a rebuild. They were going to bring in Sam Darnold, what I thought was going to be for sort of like what the Patriots did with Jacoby Brissett. We're going to bring him in for, 4, 6, maybe 8 weeks, and then we're going to hand the ball to the rookie. But J.J. McCarthy got hurt in the preseason, and it was Darnold's ship to fly, and here they are at 5-0. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, but the Vikings have to be one of the more improbable 5-0 teams in recent memory, and Darnold enjoying a career resurgence up in Minnesota. So those two undefeated teams. The college teams.
You don't think Minnesota's second class?
For right now, they're in first class.
Well, no,
for the season, yeah, good with a chance to be great.
Where do you think they end? What's their record?
5-0.
No, at the end of the year.
It's still a rugged division. Chicago's improving, and now they got to win at Green Bay already.
That's a big one. They got some nice wins, man.
12-5. If they go 7-5 down the rest of the way, that's 12-5. That's good. That's probably good enough to win the division. 12-5 win you the NFC North.
What do you think Detroit's going to do? You thought Detroit's the
right,
best
right. I did.
Detroit is one of the best teams.
Yeah. So 12-5 is what I'll sit with. They regress a little bit to the mean.
Detroit is going to have a couple. Their schedule is a big upgrade from what it was last year.
They got the first place schedule, yeah.
But it's not just that. It's not just the 3 games. Okay, it's just the division's tougher. Minnesota's tougher.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of things fell Detroit's way last year. Would they finish the record last year?
Well,
about 12-5 last year.
I thought they were 12-5 last year.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
That might be tough for them to get to this year.
Yeah, so 7-5 is very doable for Minnesota. I think the rest.
12-5.
Yeah, they go 7-5
the rest of the way.
Yeah, they're 12-5.
Charlie,
I might be underselling.
They're a complete team. It's not on their offense. I mean, they only get 18 yards per attempt on. 18th in the league on yards per play.
Yeah. Well,
no, but I mean, Flores in that defense. I mean, it's pretty good.
They're well coached on both sides. On both sides of the ball.
Yes. So we'll see. But they do have some nice wins secured.
Yeah, they've beaten San Francisco.
Jets neutral.
At Green Bay.
At Green Bay is a great one. Yeah, yeah.
Got out to the big lead and hung on. To
Houston.
That's a very nice win. They blasted Houston.
I mean, they probably had the toughest schedule in the league so far.
7-5 the rest of the way might be an undersell. Now they've stayed healthy, but
I think 12-5 is fair.
Okay. Undefeated college teams. Army and Navy. Last time Army and Navy were undefeated at 5-0, 1940. Miami, maybe with a little bit of assist from the ACC. Pitt, first time since 1991 that they are undefeated. Eli Holstein, local product, quarterback up there. BYU, Kalani Sitake went in. They had their record had been decreasing for 3 straight years. He was on a little bit of the hot seat out there. They've opened up 5-0. Iowa State, they play defense, undefeated for the first time since 1980 at this point in the season. Indiana, we talked about them since 67. Oregon and Ohio State play this week. Penn State, Liberty, and Texas, all undefeated as we're a week deep into October. That's my first class. Everybody that's still undefeated at this point in the season.
I got to ask you the same thing I asked you with Minnesota. By the way, Minnesota's yards per play defense is 5, and offense they're 18. So, it's even I was fall guilty to giving the quarterback a little bit too much credit. He's playing better than I thought he would.
He was the top-rated quarterback in the league, rating-wise, going into last week. I think he's got to be close.
How can he be the top-rated quarterback in the league when they're just below average of yards per play offense?
His QBR was number 1 going into the game in London. Let me see where he is now. Quarterback rating, he's he dropped to number 6. But no, one of the guys that jumped in front of him was Flacco. He didn't have enough. He didn't have enough attempts until last week to get in front of there. He's behind Burrow, Mayfield, Jackson, and Daniels. So he's in good company right there. And it's almost identical to what Josh Allen's is. This is quarterback rating now. It's quarterback rating.
So you're
an 8.1 per attempt is 5th in the league. 5th in the league. And one of the guys that he's behind is Anthony Richardson, who has about half the attempts of the rest of the guys on the lead.
Yeah, how many yards per snap is a big deal to me, and they're doing it more with their defense. Is my point. You know?
No, the defense is rated much higher than the offense. But Darnold is playing. Darnold's playing really well.
Let's get to these strength of schedules with these teams. Let me see. So you said Liberty, dead last in Division I strength of schedule.
Okay,
as advertised before the season started, right? Army 120.
Mm-hmm.
Navy 112.
That's about to go up with the game against Notre Dame.
There you go. Okay,
it's about to go up.
I mean, they got in Notre Dame and Tulane, but who else did you say?
Of the group of fives, that's it for the group of fives, or the non-power conferences. Indiana,
the best. Indiana is pretty damn low as well. Let me see. Where is Indiana? Indiana 67.
Respectable.
Not terrible, but it's not. All the teams in front of them are all of Power 4 teams.
Iowa State,
I would say they're probably about 50. Iowa State, 37. Respectable.
Yeah,
they got that. They stole that one against Iowa. That was a big one.
They did. Pitt is, speaking of stealing a couple.
I would say about the same, Charlie.
Pitt's got a win against West Virginia. That's improving because West Virginia's got a couple of wins since then. They got that one at Cincinnati, but that one
62.
That one was close. Okay. The win against North Carolina is not nearly as good as you would have thought.
North Carolina is winless against the spread this year.
They are gross.
NC State winless against the spread this year.
BYU's strength of schedule has got to be improving, huh? What SMU, Kansas State have done? I mean, they got both of those wins in the SMU.
BYU
win.
27, very respectable.
That's real good.
No, yeah.
Tricky game with Arizona this week at home.
They got to be dogs, huh? Slight dogs.
They're
I would
home.
think.
Whoever's
at home is going to be the favorite, huh?
Yeah, BYU is at home.
Okay, it's at Provo. Okay.
Yeah, and they are a small favorite. I gotta look it up. I don't have that in front of me. All right, second class. I got two Big Ten quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard, facing each other this week. Oregon and Ohio State. Preseason, you could have put both of these. You could have got top 10, maybe even top 5 Heisman odds on either one of these guys, mostly because of who they transferred in.
Wasn't Gabriel the favorite at one point?
At one point he was.
Before they started. Before
the season started, okay? Both of them have had what you would call good stat lines, but some, at times, shaky stuff. Gabriel's completed 78% of his passes, 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but the interceptions really, or 3 interceptions, excuse me, they kind of bother you. In the first game against Idaho, he had a really bad turnover down in the red zone. It kept that game closer than it probably should have been. This past weekend against Michigan State, scoreless game, throws a pick in the end zone in the first quarter, and then he throws on second down a pick at the Michigan State 2-yard line when the score was 7-0. Now, Oregon distanced themselves. They won this game easy, but in the first half, when it was a game, he throws 2 more interceptions. This is multiple turnovers down in the red zone when games are still in flux. Would worry me a little bit. Will Howard, 77% of his passes, 9.6 yards an attempt, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But in his last 3 games, he's got 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Now, they've recovered both of those fumbles, but he makes you just a little bit uneasy. One of these guys is going to get a big win this weekend. And both of these teams are in great shape to make the playoff. Which one do you like better?
Neither.
Okay.
At this point now, do you think that Dylan Gabriel had Will Howard 2 years ago was great. Remember when he came in? I think who was the one starting for Kansas State at the beginning of the year? Martinez. Remember?
Oh, Taylor Martinez.
Yes. And then Will Howard got him to the Big 12 championship, beat TCU. TCU only lost to that point. The TCU team that went all the way to the final. But I like McCord better. McCord had another good game on Friday threw a bad pick though right before the game time touchdown. But anyway. But when Ohio State loses three years in a row to Michigan, they're going to do some things. They're going to shake some things up. went crazy with their they nudged McCord out. They brought in Howard. Gabriel had much more fanfare coming in, but both are. And here's the eyeballs, and I know the stats, but my eyeballs are like kind of match the stats. Like something just they're not gaining the traction we thought. And if they're not gaining the traction against these teams, it's just slow. It's not like they're not hitting 15 touchdowns and 1 interception over 4 games. It's not happening, and it's a little bit more the explosive elements to their offense are lacking for both of these teams. Both of these teams might be better on defense than what we thought at one point. I think Ohio State, really good on defense. I'm just looking at the 2 conference games against Iowa and Michigan State. Both of them basically held Michigan State to a touchdown. Forget the field goal at the end. But, yeah, both of these teams, that's why kind of a sneaky deal. I'm kind of looking for more of a defensive game this week with Oregon and Ohio State. We've been looking at this game for a long time. Real simple. Neither of these teams, minus this game, Oregon, neither team's going to be underdog in any other game they play this year. Okay? That's including Ohio State trip to Happy Valley. Oregon's got to go to Michigan this year. Well, that's not last year's Michigan team, as we're well aware of at this point. So this is the one they have both. I'll be shocked if they both aren't into the college football playoff. But, yes, the quarterbacks, and I guess it's just trying to get comfortable with their new pieces in their supporting cast. But, yeah, they're not operating at smooth, high efficiency at this point. No.
You know the meeting.
And when they play for real, it's not going to be in the 5th start. So they got room to get better. But this week, those defenses are good enough where I think it's going to be a defensive-oriented game.
The meeting I would have loved to have been privy to at Ohio State right after the end of the season last year, where they were trying to decide who their quarterback was going to be for 2024. And their choices were to stick with McCord, to go after, you remember who they went after, right? They went after Cam Ward. That's who they wanted. And then the rumor was that they got scared off because he was going to put his name in the draft. And then, of course, he went to Miami for all that money. But Ohio State was in a spend mode at that time.
Yes.
This is January. And then the other one was Will Howard. And they had to decide what they were going to do.
Who was the other one besides Ward and Howard?
McCord. They still had McCord. They had to decide whether they were going to run him off. They didn't have to run him off.
I know they ran. You don't end up at Syracuse unless you nudged out.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they pushed him out. But what I'm saying is, at that point, they had to sit there and go, do we want McCord back? They decided no. Who do we want to go after? We want Cam Ward, but we're scared he's going to declare for the draft, and then we're going to be left holding back.
Well, the one thing that Howard or Cam Ward would have done for him, they wanted a little bit more of a running aspect, running dimension to their quarterback. Okay. And so that was the given. I thought McCord did enough to – it was solid. He lost 1 game, and they were very competitive at Michigan. He's got to force the ball at the end. They're out of timeouts. He can't take a sack. He went to Michigan and gave them all they could handle. Nobody played with Michigan last year. Nobody. Yeah. Who else played with them?
Right.
Nobody the whole damn the whole play. I'm sorry, Alabama.
Well, in the playoff, yeah. I thought you were talking about the regular season.
That's it.
I just Ohio State had spent $20 million. They spent $20 million in NIL. They would have spent $25 if Ward would have given them a guarantee, I think. And they would have matched the $5 million that Miami had.
I think Ward would have been a better option with us out of Will Howard. And I really respect what Howard did because he is tough. He'll run in there, but his passing, and he turned over the ball a lot last year. That game at Oklahoma State, they should not have lost. And he got nudged as well because Kansas State had the 5-star, and they promised him playing time. What's his name again? At
Kansas,
the long hair at Kansas State.
I forgot his name. I know who you're talking about. One other thing in second class, and you're going to like this one. The House case went. The judge sent it. They have a preliminary agreement here on this deal. It's lengthy, all the stuff. I'm just going to give you one piece of this, and they've got until January to appeal, so it's not completely done yet. But one of the things that is in this that they're talking about is opting in or opting out on revenue share. The revenue share is somewhere between $20 and $22 million per school. If you want to opt in, you have to share this revenue with your scholarship athletes. About 75 to 80% of it goes to the football players. So this means for Power 4 football programs, you can opt to spend between 20 and 80% of $20 million on your football team. Here's the thing, though. You can opt out. You don't have to. Some schools have already said, we're not sharing the revenue. We don't have the money. Your Lafayette's already said that. We don't have the money. There is discussion right now between those that opt in to share revenue with football players and those that don't on future competition, meaning that this could be the death of the rent-a-win for the opt-ins. Don't get too excited. It ain't done yet. But
no kidding.
But hey, look, we can see it. There's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance?
Tell me there's a chance.
Lloyd Christmas, you're telling me there's a chance that those that pay $15 to $17 million to their football players won't play teams that don't pay them anything.
Give me a number that you think will do it. 40?
That was the number that first popped into my head. That virtually everybody I think in the Power 4 conferences, so it's a little bit higher than 40 now.
50?
Yeah.
Think Vandy will do it?
I think to stay in the Southeastern Conference, you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to. The Iowa States and Wake Forests of the world are going to have to find this money to stay in these leagues. But
we got 16 in the SEC. How many are in the Big Ten these days?
18.
Okay. So that's 34?
Yeah.
They have to, huh? If they want that revenue, right?
Yeah. And
you can drop out. They got somebody else waiting.
Yeah.
You think Clemson will pay the $20 million to take Vandy's spot?
Clemson for sure.
Think Florida State will? Yeah.
So the Wake Forests and the Iowa States of the world are going to have to, if they want to stay in, I think.
You know who might not? The Runts.
No, they'll find the money. They will find the money.
Keep gone. No rent-a-wins. You got to get out.
We got to do no class in the next segment. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice, SupremeRice.com.
You sure?
I am.
Okay.
I am. No, I'm not. With this revenue sharing, I'm not sure about anything. Supreme Rice and the new parboiled rice. Jimmy, you love this. It's been
my favorite.
Okay, you got a new favorite in the Supreme Rice
It's real
family.
simple. You ever boil your rice at home, or the rice, the steamer and things like that, where it's a little gummy or it's got that residue or something like that. You try and how do I get that those big grains of rice with it's clean and it's firm like the restaurant rice? I mean, they just seem to. They are using the parboiled rice. So the parboiled rice is now available. Supreme Rice parboiled rice at all of our Baton Rouge area grocery stores. So when you go down, you pick it up. Don't just pick up any rice. Get that really good rice, that parboiled rice. It is awesome. I love it.
Supreme Rice, part of the Climate Smart program, methane emission reduction and water conservation, preserving the future of Louisiana farmers, because all of our Supreme Rice is grown, milled, and processed in Louisiana. Check it out. More information, great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Back here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch.
Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store, your home improvement specialist. And not just for supplies, although they've got every supply you could ever need. Not just for tools, although they got every tool you can ever need. Not just for great prices, although they're going to be able to get great prices. It's for the service that you get when you don't know exactly how to proceed with that project at home. Listen, especially doing it yourself, you can get to an expert at the Thibodeau Store. They will walk you through step by step. You're not going to waste any money on supplies that you don't need. You're not going to waste time on procedures that don't work. It's so much better than a YouTube video. Listen, they're going to be able to guide you. Ask. This is the difference between them and the big box stores. Ask somebody. They will help you. Whether you're putting in a light or you got a small plumbing problem, small electrical problem, let them help you out. Get your supplies delivered. Go to ThibodeauStore.com. You need lumber delivered. You can do that out of the Pierre Part Store. They've been in business for over 100 years down at Pierre Part, so believe me, they understand about customer service. And in Thibodaux, it's at 900 St. Patrick Highway. Online, it's ThibodeauStore.com.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, so we get to no class, first class, second class, no class. First of all, here's something I never do, ever. I do not give fashion advice. I'm not qualified. I don't do it. But I got to take Ryan Clark to task for this red suit in Kansas City last night. What are you doing? This is Kansas City.
He enjoys doing it.
Okay, but you can't. If you're going to be on the, I don't mind him wearing the red suit. Wear it when you're going to Pittsburgh.
At Casey.
Yeah,
well, he's not a Saint.
No, I know, but
grew up in New Orleans.
But you can't wear the colors of the other team. Do this when you go to Green Bay. Do this when you go to Seattle, okay? You want to wear a green suit like that last night? That's fine. You want to wear purple?
Oh,
you want to wear
just saying the red
at
the Chiefs game. Yeah.
I'm talking about red coat, red pants. You want to wear that in Los Angeles? You want to wear that in Miami?
He never played for the Chiefs, so
it's like, what are you doing, man? You can't wear the colors of the team.
So Marcus Spears was in black, so they offset each other, huh?
I didn't see what Spears was wearing. I missed the pregame.
I'm telling you.
Okay. All right.
It's black.
Okay.
Black on black.
Yeah,
black trousers, black coat, black. Yeah.
And I understand the Saints
Johnny Cash.
have black, and they wore the black helmets last night. But black is kind of a neutral, gray, white even. But man, my man had that fire red suit last night in the middle of Kansas City. I'm like, come on, man, you can't do that. Anyway, like I said, I don't get
a lot of red in that stadium.
There was a lot of red in that. The Chiefs aren't one of those, like Pittsburgh's black and gold, Miami's aqua and orange. Okay, the Chiefs are red. Okay, that's it. There ain't no other color in there. There ain't nothing else in that color wheel. They are red.
Did you see any overhead shots of the Rams crowd with the Packers in town?
I didn't.
Had to be. We didn't have that sound on, so
no. Ordinarily the Packers travel as well as any NFL fan base.
Oh no! They had more. I'm sure. I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't see.
I didn't either. Okay, so this is going to require a setup here for the other no class, but this is another one that's right in your wheelhouse. Okay, Friday night, Oregon leads 31-7, 25 seconds to go. And Michigan State has the ball on the 24-yard line. They're down 31-7. It is 4th and 14. There's 25 seconds to go. Jonathan Smith, what do you do? You're down 31-7. There's 25 seconds to go in the game. It's 4th down on the 24-yard line going in. What do you do? Well, conventional wisdom says that you would throw one to the end zone, at least throw one to try to make the first down. You're not going to win the game. There's no miraculous finish. There's not even a score onside and score. You're still out. What does he do? He kicks a field goal to make it 31-10. Significant to some. Jimmy, we had a discussion about this with some of the guys down at Beau Rivage about, how often you see this done. I don't remember very many of a non-shutout. Now, if you're down 31-0, you're just like, man, I want to get on the scoreboard. I don't want to see that goose egg up there. Fine. Kick the field goal. Okay, I'm not for it, but at least I get it. I understand it. You've already scored. You're down 31-7. The only thing that kicking this field goal does is cover the spread. They didn't even bother to onside kick it after that. This was on Bad Beats last night. They didn't even bother to onside kick after that. Jonathan Smith covering the spread with a field goal? Is it? Is that a team?
He's obviously in an inferior position. Okay, he is taking over a first year for a last minute switch over. I mean, it's tough. They're over a 3 touchdown underdog. Okay, it's not like Florida against Oregon State in the bowl game. They were getting shut out. They kicked a field goal at the end to avoid the shutout. Instead of taking a shot into the end zone, they were about the 20-yard line or so, 15-yard, 20-yard line. When this was happening Friday night, I felt that it was 50-50 what he was going to do. Because they had already they converted a 4th down, and they got down. But right off the bat, they had a sack or a penalty. It put them behind the sticks. So it was not 4th and 5.
It was 4th and 14.
4th and 14. They have no explosive elements. They're up. Oregon's pretty good on defense. It looked like their first team defense was still in the game. And the kicker, I mean, I knew there was a chance he would do this. He kicked it, and they covered the spread. I got a few texts right after it. I was surprised. It didn't totally surprise me. It wouldn't have surprised me if they threw the ball in the end zone incomplete and they walk away. There's another one, though. So,
well, I'm setting
Missouri,
up that that's the one I'm setting up.
Missouri wasn't. They weren't getting 34.
This one is the one that really is no class. The Michigan State one, I don't understand. I get what you're doing, but the Missouri one makes no sense to me. It's 41-7, Texas A&M. There's 12 seconds to go. It's 4th and goal from the A&M 6. So it's not like you need some wildly crazy play to get in from the 6-yard line. It's a 23-yard field goal, and they kick it to make the final 41-10. This one had nothing to do with the spread or the total. I went back and checked. They were already over the total by half a point. Total was 47.5. So this doesn't affect the spread. It doesn't affect the total. It damn sure doesn't affect the outcome. You just decided to practice 23-yard field goal with
they want to
12
keep
seconds
that,
to
if
go.
they score double-digit points, how many something consecutive games? You know, they want to do that.
I don't know.
I'm trying to dig here.
Yeah, because you have
to put
right?
7 to 10.
Because it makes no sense.
No. You're a top 10 ranked team. Okay, we told you they weren't a top 10 team. We told you Michigan and Missouri weren't a top 10 team. Okay, we got that one right. I mean, that's just a joke. Well, they're preseason top 10. Why is Michigan preseason top 10? Oh, they won it last year. Well, that's last year. Got nothing to do with this year. Okay?
This is patronizing. Okay, don't.
That to me, when you're basically it's less than a 3-point underdog. Okay, you're ranked in the top 10, not the first game of the year, but 5 games in. Mm-hmm. And you're undefeated. That's a loser mentality.
Thank you.
Okay? That's a loser mentality.
It is a totally patronizing move. It's like, what does this prove? That you can make a 23-yard field goal? Something that, thousands of high school kids can do at any time? What are you trying to trying to cut the lead to 31?
Yeah, but you understand what the Michigan State is. I mean, they're such a big underdog. Okay, it does make a difference in the spread, but I've seen some big dogs do that before. They just want some sort of consolation to try and be, that have no bearing on the spread, but they do that.
Right.
Not just to avoid overtime.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. Missouri, I don't understand that. There's no explanation that I consider even plausible to kick a field goal down 41-7 with 12 seconds to go in the game. This is a completely loser mentality. This is a patronizing move. I don't get it. Does anybody in Missouri feel better because they kicked that field goal? Honestly, does anybody on that team? Could you imagine the field goal team going out there going, "What are we doing?"
To me, all it does is make my boosters scratch their head a little bit. My players scratch their head a little bit.
What are you doing?
Like, hey man, we aspire more than this.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down. You want to try and preach, keep fighting till the end. We'll settle for a field goal to cut it to 31.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't get it. And I could have put.
You mean like these rent-a-win teams that want to do it, or this that Vandy have done it in the past, something like that.
And especially if you're not if they were getting shut out, I understand that. Okay, I still think it's a loser mentality, but at least I get it.
Florida don't need to be doing it either.
I don't get that
with their resources. No, I that was crazy.
A complete head scratcher.
A&M? Did they? Huh?
Oh, you mean the SEC leaders
no.
at 3-0?
No, but I mean
they might have cups printed.
Can they be the fly in the ointment for Texas? Texas' schedule's so easy.
On that night in that stadium, yes, they can. Because they ain't played.
Probably won't be enough to keep them out the playoff, though.
It won't be
that path is.
But
Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, their path is so damn easy.
Right. But can A&M win that game? Absolutely, they can.
Don't forget our friends at Electric Man, BatonRouge.com. Do you need an electrician? Call for an estimate at 372-5356, or look us up online. ElectricManBatonRouge.com. You just click on. We're available 24/7. Quality service, $79 service calls. You can request a quote right on the website at Electric Man. BatonRouge.com. Installations, if your home or business has electrical emergencies, Electric Man can come right to your doorstep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our professionals can repair, replace, and install complex electrical wirings, electrical panels, or your new outlets in a breeze, no time at all. Power up with no overcharge. Again, where emergencies don't pick a time to trouble you. We work on nights, weekends, and even holidays. Truly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that we are available. Quality service. Our professional and friendly technicians will carry out the task at hand, accounting respect and safety protocols to your respective homes and establishments. And get a free estimate. You can call Electric Man and we'll give you a free estimate depending on what you need. Or you can go online and right on the main page, click where it says request a quote. We can handle that for you. Electric Man, BatonRouge.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's going to be a special weekend at LSU. Not just that there's this hugely important football game plan, which is obvious, but this, of course, is the 100-year anniversary of Tiger Stadium this year, and this is one of the games. This game is one of the ones that are going to be doing a lot of special things. The L Club and others, and the L Club announced that their game captains that are coming back, and I love this, Jimmy. I know you will too. Matt Flynn is coming back, national championship quarterback. Steve Ensminger, who was the offensive coordinator for the 2019 national championship teams, and Warren Rabb is coming back. The quarterback of the 58 national champs is coming back. Those are the guest captains for Saturday. So amongst all of the other things going on, those three are going to be out there. I love this.
Burrow obviously playing Sunday, so
yeah. Warren Rabb.
Where's Mark?
Mark, that's a good question. Mark, I think Mark still lives in Denver, I believe.
Is he a dentist or just a doctor?
He is a dentist, yeah.
He's a dentist?
Yeah. And Mark's been back. He's been a guest captain more than once. I know because he's been back in town. We've seen him. There's going to be a lot of special stuff going on. So the announcements will be coming as the week goes on. But it'll be a really, really special, I think, weekend at Tiger Stadium.
I've done a lot of those with Warren. The last one that LSU did, and that was 6 years ago, was for the Ole Miss game too, that they honored the 58 team. Cool thing I was able to do that was allow my son to go out on the field, and with my dad, because everybody had a family member. I mean, that's going to be the last one that they do, and rightfully so. But Warren has maintained his health and really just his wits, and he's a quarterback, man. Of course, man.
You know what else he did?
He's just a prince of a guy, man. I consider myself lucky to have being able to interact and hang out with Warren over the years with these type of things. So I think that's great.
You know what else Warren Rabb did? Play defense.
Well, they all did.
I know, but
they all did.
That's what a lot of people. I know you remember this, but just because we've seen the film so many times, your dad told the story. But the goal line stand in the Cannon game, where he and Billy and Warren Rabb make that stop at the 1 yard line, and we talk. It's hyperbole a lot of almost all the time. You say this was a history-changing play. That was a history-changing play because if Ole Miss scores there, the Cannon punt return gets lost.
Correct.
They lose the game, and the Cannon punt return gets lost.
Well, I thought it was after the Cannon punt return that they had the game-saving goal line.
It was. That's what I'm saying. If Ole Miss scores there,
it was a great punt return, but it
happened in a loss.
Right. Correct.
So. You want to talk about a history-changing play, that goal line stand.
And back then, your substitution patterns were limited, and the rule was if you left, you could not return that quarter. Yeah. So they had units. Now, also Dietzel during the offseason, they were 5-5 in 57, and so 50 going. He said, and they lost a lot of games because they kind of wore down in the fourth quarter. So they actually went to Delaware and learned a platoon system. And Delaware was running a wing T, too. with a platoon system, and that's why I said, he said, all right, this team's down there. We'll just throw this third unit in there, Chinese Bandits, because it's at the end of the quarter, and we'll give my guys a rest, and boom, boom, they make a stop. And then it became a specialized unit. But it was kind of it was not intentional. Give these guys a chance. So that's why, and then they went on to to win the whole thing. But Warren, as good as he was, he did not have my dad's completion percentage, Charlie.
100%?
1 for 1. 1 for 1 for 6 yards in Miami. 1 for 1 for 6 yards in Miami on the road. And one of the things that they remember, they stayed through Saturday. They came back Sunday. Well, they played on a Friday night, and so Dietzel kind of gave them a yard pass to go out go to the beach during the day and out on the town in Miami on Saturday night during that trip. So it's one of those bonding experiences, and my dad talks about it a lot. So
we've had such a privilege to be able to interact with some of those guys, and of course, Coach Dietzel has passed on. He was really generous with his time with us at the pregame show, and he told us so many stories about that, the 50-year anniversary, and so was Billy Cannon. Billy Cannon gave the best. I remember this distinctly. He didn't like to do a ton of interviews, but he did one with us before the before the Sugar Bowl in 2001. And I'll be damned if Billy didn't foresee exactly how that game was going to go. From what LSU was going to do offensively to what Illinois was going to do offensively. I went back and listened to it afterwards. I was like, he told us exactly what was going to happen before the game. And that was, long after he had stopped playing. He still followed the game, still knew the game.
A lot of them do, but especially Billy.
Yeah.
Billy played close attention. Billy was, he was – and he was opinionated, and he would share that with you, on different things. But no, he cared a lot. But the greatest thing in era, what translates. Let me know the next time you got a guy that wins 100 in the SEC and wins a shot put. I mean, come on, man.
I can tell you never.
And he was bigger than the lineman. It's just. An incredible combination of power and speed, size, power, and speed. So, that's pretty strong.
Going to be a wonderful day, Saturday.
Yeah, that's cool, man. The weather, is it supposed to?
Yes, it's supposed to be nice.
Really?
It's supposed to be nice.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, little Reps and Tigers on Saturday night with something on the line.
A lot on the
line. Tigers
got
something on the line.
A lot
those
on the line.
Those trips to Arkansas and in College Station will be tougher than maybe anticipated, huh?
Oh, look, yeah.
Those teams,
I said this before Vanderbilt beat Alabama last week, and I really believe it. There's not a sure win or a sure loss left on LSU's schedule for the Tigers.
Home against Ole Miss, Bama, and who?
Oklahoma.
I
don't think it's a
shame
sure.
on
It's not a sure win. No, they'll be favored.
The only thing, Charlie, had Auburn taken care of business and won that game, how would you feel about Oklahoma? Because they only had 26 to 11 first downs.
No, they'll be favored, and I think they should win. But is it a guarantee?
No, they've got a.
There's not the November rental win on there, and there's not a they don't play Mississippi State. I would say Mississippi State would be a sure win. They don't play them this year. There's not a sure. They should beat Oklahoma. They should beat not a sure win or a sure loss left on the schedule.
That's the way it should be.
Oh, when everybody's
that's
got a
the
chance.
Way it should be. Don't waste my damn time. And look,
death to November rental wins.
And I'm not a season ticket holder, but they should be the ones that are barking the most about this.
Well,
and season tickets become a
right. Well, this year, this is the best season ticket package in a long, long time.
LSU's got to keep winning with a chance. I mean, that is a fair, legitimate goal, realistic goal, and that is to finish in the top 12 or finish in a 12 to make it to a top 12. It's more like the top 11 with the group of 5 team. Okay, so but I mean that is absolutely fair with the expectations, the resources, the budget, the history, the backing, the support of this program. Don't forget to experience quality and service. Quality windows, doors, siding, and interior shutters, and even better customer service, and my friends at Relief Windows You go to reliefwindows.com and schedule your free quote, or give us a call, 230-5652, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. So, we talk about the wind windows, the gelled wind windows that stand up, and we have warranty for these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions, but also our doors, exterior doors, French doors, sliding glass doors, all of our doors over at Relief Windows. So our selection of replacement doors are all created using the highest quality materials and designed to provide secure and durable barriers between the outside and inside of your home. They come in a variety of materials, each with its unique advantages. So you can go to our website and check out our different selection of exterior doors, French doors, and sliding glass doors. Relief Windows at reliefwindows.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Great Louis Tiant passed away at the age of 83, the longtime member of the Boston Red Sox and Cleveland Indians, won 229 games in his major league career. He passed away today at the age of 83. Tiant was one of the last great players to get out of Cuba before Kennedy put the embargo in, and before the Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961. He got 1962. The Cleveland Indians at the time purchased his contract, and he couldn't go home for 15 years. He didn't see his parents for 15 years after that with the Bay of Pigs invasion and things like that. He was a three-time All-Star. He led the league in ERA twice, a member of the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame, the Venezuelan Baseball Hall of Fame, and when I think of him, Jimmy, I think of
was he the one to give up the home run, or he was out
to
the game
Bucky Dent? I think he was. I know he started that game.
No, it was him and Ron Guidry.
Yeah. And
Gossage came in.
I don't remember if he was still in the game when Dent hit the home run or not. But that's the game I always think of. One of the great historic games. That one game playoff between the Yankees and the Red Sox.
I'll remember that
in '78. He was a great pitcher, and passed away at the age of 83. Dennis,
he also had that little pause, that kind of like a little twirl.
Yeah.
El Duque kind of
it
mimicked it a little bit.
A unique delivery.
Yeah, kind of he would go back and kind of swing and just pause.
And
he would juggle his glove a little bit. He had all kinds of little ritual on the pre pitch ritual.
Dennis Allen, no update on Derek Carr. They got in 2:30 in the morning. He'll have an MRI later this afternoon. We'll see what we find out there. Tomorrow we are at Modesto, Burbank at Nicholson. Till then, thanks to the folks here at Mike Anderson's. For Jimmy and Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.